Hey, what's up? This is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. And who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to do a breakdown / prediction for Tszyu versus Carlos Ocampo. Really quick, if you like the videos, please take the time right now, subscribe to the channel. If you have done so lately, I would like to say thank you and also welcome. If you have been down and rolling with me thus far, thank you for the support. Thank you for just rolling with me thus far. Things will get better and more things will come. Also, if you could hit that thumbs up button, it really does help support this channel. Let's get into this breakdown. Let's start with resume. I'm going to give this to Tszyu only because he has Tony Harrison on his resume. And by far, I think with both of the guys, Tony Harrison is probably one of the most recognized and decorated fighters on either resume. I mean, you can say Charlo on Ocampo, but he lost, so there's nothing to brag about. But Tszyu, on the other hand, faced a top 5 guy, and he passed that test with flying colors in Tony Harrison. So I got to give it to Tszyu. Power. This is a tie. Honestly, both of them have a ton of knockouts. Both of them both guys can crack. So this is going to be a tie because, to be honest with you, I think either guy can put the other guy down. The question is, what happens if the other guy gets back up? I think in terms of Tszyu, he's already shown that he can go down from a really good shot and get right back up and continue as if nothing ever happened, which means that his recovery time is superb, is championship level. While Carlos Ocampo, on the other hand, he can be taken out. So that's something to think about moving forward with this fight. Strength. I'm going to give this to Tszyu. He's a little smaller, a lot more stocky. He's a muscle guy. Carlos Ocampo, I feel like he is okay in the clinch. He does well in the close quarters, but he's not the type of guy who's going to muscle you down. He will smother you, but he won't muscle you down. And Tszyu is more than comfortable with wrestling in a corner or just clinching up with anybody. So I'm going to give it to Tszyu. Mental toughness. Now, I just kind of mentioned this. Tszyu's been down, but not only did he go down, he got right back up and he got right back to work. And then he finished out the fight strong. And he won everything after that. So that tells me that he's strong enough or mentally to get put down, get himself back mentally in the right place, get back up and get back to work. Remember the game plan, focus and zoom in. A lot of guys, they go down and then the worry and the doubt starts to creep in. Also the dizziness. For him to recover and then get back to work says a lot about him just as a mentally strong individual, because not many people can do this. A perfect example that happened recently would be Ryan Garcia. He went down from a body shot from Gervonta Tank Davis, and Gervonta Tank Davis said all he had to do was give him a mean look and say a few words, and he could see in Ryan Garcia's eyes he didn't want any more. And, you can make the argument for Tszyu. He went down, but he got right back up and he could focus. He got right back up and he didn't lose heart in his own abilities or his ability to win the fight. So that says something about his mental toughness. Defense. Neither one of the guys I feel like have great defense, but there's 2 things in particular that I feel like Tszyu does really, really well, and I think can be a huge factor in the fight with Carlos Ocampo. So one, he's learned to slow himself down in terms of pace, because he realizes I got 12 rounds and I hit hard, and I'm a pretty accurate puncher at that, and I hit hard. So I don't need to rush into anything. That's one, and that's huge. But the second thing is, Tim is really good at just kind of picking shots, just kind of picking and deflecting shots. So he might get hit with something, but it's not like 100% clean. I'm not saying he's great at slipping shots, where things are just sliding off of him. I'm not saying that, but he'll kind of just pick it. As he's coming in closer, he'll just kind of smack your shots out of the way. And that's going to help him a lot in this fight with Carlos Ocampo. Carlos Ocampo is really tall, has long arms. And that's going to help Tim a lot, to be honest with you. But it's also going to help Tim in the sense, while he's picking the shots, he can counter as well. That's going to help him because Carlos Ocampo, he throws from sides, angles. He doesn't throw. He's not big on throwing things straight down the pipe. He's kind of hitting like this, and that's going to work in the favor of Tszyu. Cardio. Now, here's the thing. I just said he's working on, and we've seen in his fight with Tony Harrison, slowing down his pace. So in terms of cardio, I think he's championship caliber. Carlos Ocampo, he starts off slow, but when I feel like he's tall. He's like taller than a lot of guys in the division, in which case you can afford to be slow because you can keep your distance. He hits hard and he can keep his distance. But the one thing one of the things that I would critique about Carlos Ocampo is he doesn't really understand how to use his height to his advantage because he lowers himself to his opponents. And his punches aren't fully extended. He kind of pops his jab. So that would be a critique of his. But I would definitely give it to Tim Tszyu. Like when you look at his fight with Tony Harrison, he was very composed. He wasn't wasting any energy. He wasn't wasting anything. He could have done what he was doing for 12 rounds without breaking a sweat. So I got to give that to Tim Tszyu. While Carlos Ocampo, on the other hand, once he gets going, he gets going. And especially if it's a close quarter situation, he's doing this windmill thing. So again, Tim Tszyu for cardio. Body work. I think it's a tie. Both guys are amazing with their body work. Carlos Ocampo, he's dropped a lot of guys with them body shots. That sneaky liver shot. He's really good at that because he has those long arms. He can just kind of curve it to the side. He can stand in front of you, but his arms are long enough to where he can just kind of curve it to the side. And he drops guys because they don't even see it coming. He's that tall. His arms are that long. They don't even see it coming. But Tim Tszyu's no slouch as well. He's got those shovel hooks. Tim Tszyu, I feel like, has a much broader arsenal than Carlos Ocampo. Because the thing is with Carlos Ocampo, I feel like he doesn't utilize his height. And by not utilizing your height to maximize the power, he's still, credit to Carlos Ocampo because he still hits hard. But I feel like he could do so much more damage if he fully extended his punches. In which case, Tim Tszyu takes full advantage. That overhand for Tim Tszyu, that shovel hook from Tim Tszyu, that beautiful uppercut. Tim Tszyu has a crazy underrated uppercut that a lot of people don't talk about. But it's perfectly timed. It's perfectly placed. My only critique about his uppercut is that he doesn't use it more. That's my only critique. Let's see. Durability. Again, I would say Tim Tszyu only because he's been dropped and he got back up and he finished strong. But on top of that, in his native land of Australia, there's a lot of sluggers. And he's been through the ringer in terms of sluggers. A lot of guys, especially in America, they'll say, well, Tim Tszyu hasn't fought anybody. All right, he hasn't fought a lot of slick guys. I will definitely give you that. But in terms of tough, rugged, strong, durable guys, sluggers, he's fought a ton of those guys. And he's walked through the fire. And he's passed all those tests. So I would definitely give it to Tim Tszyu just for being more durable. Like I said, Carlos Ocampo, he has been knocked out. So obviously it's not going to go to him. Best range. What is the best range for each guy to fight in? Obviously, Tim Tszyu being a smaller guy, being a shorter guy, up close and personal. And because of his best weapons, I feel like that's the best place, for him to be. Like I said, that shovel hook, those uppercuts, that shorthand overhand, because it's kind of coming down like a hammer almost. And it's kind of reminiscent to Triple G. But Carlos Ocampo, obviously, he's tall. He's got those long arms. He should be fighting at a distance. If I were training Carlos Ocampo, I'd be like, you're never getting touched. You got those long arms and you hit hard. You got a lot of pop in your punches. You're never going to get touched. You don't have to get into wars. You don't have to mix it up. The way you've been mixing up. You can have a very safe career. That's what I'm saying. But that's his best. I feel like at range, Carlos Ocampo is very dangerous. He's dangerous up close too because, like I said, he's very, very tricky or crafty. Let me use the word crafty, not tricky. But because you don't see a lot of those things coming. Like I said, his arms are long enough to where they can kind of go around you while he's standing right in front of you. Let's see. Speed. I would give it to Tim Tszyu. Like I said, Carlos Ocampo is not the fastest guy in the world, but he doesn't have to be because he's crafty and a lot of his stuff is kind of, masked. So he doesn't have to be that fast. Not the way he fights. Plus, he's a bigger guy. He's going to walk you down. He's going to smother you. It's not like he's going to try to surprise you with some new thing or he's going to trick you or surprise you with flash. He's not going to do that. But I would definitely say Tim Tszyu is the faster guy. And again, Tony Harrison is not a slow puncher. And for Tim Tszyu to do the things that he did to Tony Harrison, I'm pretty impressed with his speed, because it's easy to say somebody looks fast when they're just fighting regular dudes. But when you fight a top-notch guy, and a top-notch guy who's, has got some speed on him, and you're catching him and you're slipping those shots, Tim Tszyu's pretty fast. Confidence, I would definitely give it to Tim Tszyu. One, I think he's more confident because he's got the momentum right now. He beat a top-notch guy in Tony Harrison. He also, in my personal opinion, has now crept out of the shadow of his father, and he's proven that he can be a big name, star in boxing. He's proven that he can move the needle in terms of selling tickets. He's proven these things, and I think the momentum is with him, and with that momentum comes confidence. So I definitely think he's the more confident fighter. He's never lost also. Carlos Ocampo has 2 losses. Carlos Ocampo has been knocked out. I would definitely give the confidence, hands down, bar none, to Tim Tszyu. Footwork. Neither one of these guys are like special footwork guys or anything like that. They both kind of creep forward. It's kind of like machismo with both of these guys. We know where Tim Tszyu's going to be, and we know where Carlos Ocampo's going to be. He'll be right in front of you the whole time. So let me just end with one little segment. What to look out for from Carlos Ocampo. That sneaky liver shot. Like I said, the man can stand in front of you and still reach his arm around and perfectly place that punch and get you off your feet. And he's done it dozens of times before, and if Tim Tszyu is not careful, he will do it again. What to look out for Tim Tszyu? Shovel hooks, because he's great at them, especially when he's moving forward. But he can also do them backing up, which is impressive. And perfectly timed uppercuts. I'm telling you, his uppercuts are so underrated, and it's sad that more people don't talk about him, because I think he is an amazing uppercut. But it's like perfectly placed, and they're sharp and they're crisp, and they're fast. And that uppercut pops up out of nowhere. The minute you close that distance, he's popping that thing out, and it's a problem, because when he uses that, guys typically go down. And when he uses it, they typically don't come back. And what's beautiful about that is that uppercut will come up. Now we're talking about that shorthand overhand, where it's not fully extended, doesn't have to, because it's coming downward. And like I said, Triple G uses that a lot, and it's a very effective punch. Especially if you're heavy-handed like Tim Tszyu, it's a very effective punch. So looking at my tally, I have Tim Tszyu winning. I think Tim Tszyu will win by a knockout. Like I said, Carlos Ocampo is not a hard guy to find. Carlos Ocampo doesn't have the best footwork in the world. And Carlos Ocampo is not the type of guy to back down. I think he'll be right where Tim Tszyu needs him to be for Tim Tszyu to look good. I do think it will be a hard fight for probably about 6 to 7 rounds. But I do see Tim Tszyu getting the victory before the 10th round. So that is my prediction for Tim Tszyu versus Carlos Ocampo. Tell me what you think. Do you agree with my prediction? Do you not agree with it? If you don't, tell me why. If you do, tell me why. Drop your thoughts down below. As always, please like, please share, please subscribe to this channel.